Hi, everyone. Welcome to Monday night version of live stream with me, Dr. Aparajita Jeedigunta. Go by AJ. I am a leadership coach. I help ambitious working professionals overcome self-doubt and imposter syndrome to transform yourselves into visible leaders who are seen, heard, valued, respected, and most importantly, recognized. And I'm also a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. If you've been watching this, my live streams for a while, you know all of this about me. If you're just joining in, I wanted to give you a quick introduction to who I am. And if you're watching this later and you're new to my live streaming, welcome. Please, as usual, feel free to put your comments in the comment box, and some comments I can't see, but the ones I see, I do try to address them in the course of the live stream. So that being said, today what I want to talk about really is the mind-boggling mindset blocks of a mindset coach, because a large portion of what I do is mindset work. A large portion of what I do over the course of my day and over the course of my week is helping people stay in their true sustainable growth mindset. And if they're not in there, then I help people, I help my clients reframe their mindset so that they are in a true growth mindset. So it's interesting that when I experience mindset blocks, I sort of go through the same thing that everyone else does, that my clients do. And I just recently went through a mindset block, and it was mind-boggling. And of course, I worked myself out of it, and I came away with so many insights that's what I wanted to talk about today was, especially as the person who's supposed to be the mindset expert, I'm not immune from having mindset blocks. I'm not immune from needing to reframe my own thoughts. And since this happened just over this past weekend, I figured, hey, why not make a video about this so that hopefully it's valuable to you and hopefully you learn something, right? And so the first thing I want to talk about really today is that this mindset block came out of nowhere for me, y'all. Nowhere. I was fine Friday morning. And then by Friday evening, I was tanking. Like, my energy was all over the place. My thoughts were all over the place. I started kind of feeling not a sense of worthlessness, but a sense of, so what, why am I doing this? Like, what is my purpose of doing everything that I'm doing? Which immediately puts you back into a fixed mindset. So just as a recap, for those who may not be familiar with mindsets, first of all, I recommend Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. It's a book by Dr. Carol Dweck. She is the world's leading expert on mindset, and she's the researcher out of Stanford, Harvard, all of these big, huge institutional names, and she does amazing work on mindset. So what Carol Dweck has taught us about mindset using her research, but really what we've known for thousands of years in ancient civilizations from ancient histories, is that all of us have two different types of main mindsets that we could be in. Hi, Stephanie. I'm so glad you could join. All of us have two different types of mindsets. We either have the fixed mindset, where we sort of see ourselves as fixed entities and who are not capable of change, or we have our growth mindset, where we realize that we can change, we can learn, and we can adapt and adopt new behaviors to grow ourselves into the versions that we want to be. Now, within the growth mindset, you also have a true growth mindset and a false growth mindset. I won't get into all of that because that's beyond the scope of a live. Like, that's a whole training on its own. And I'm more than happy to talk to you about it outside of this, but it's beyond the scope of this video. But so what happens is, when you start doubting yourself, when you start kind of questioning your actions and questioning the intent behind your actions and the impact of your actions, there is a chance, a risk that you are going to slip back into a fixed mindset. Because the reality of mindset is that both the fixed mindset and the growth mindset coexist in our minds. How much time we spend thinking of ourselves as fixed entities versus thinking of ourselves as free agents who have the control to do the actions we need to do to grow. How much time we spend in fixed versus growth, that's ultimately what determines our actions. When we start doubting ourselves, we run the risk of spending more time in a fixed entity because we start doubting our capability and capacity to learn and grow and change. So when I was questioning myself, this is exactly what happened is I started questioning, like, am I capable of learning something from this? What am I not getting? What am I not learning? Why is this getting more difficult for me? Why am I not able to gain the insights that I know I help my clients with? Some of my clients have had incredible transformations and manifestations in as little as like 2 to 3 weeks. But why am I struggling with this? So that's a first insight I actually gained once I worked through this. Whether we are people who are only responsible for ourselves, or whether we are people who are responsible for 10 other people or 1,000 other people, as leaders, of course, we're going to question ourselves. Of course, we are going to worry about the impact of our actions and whether our actions are being received in the way that is beneficial to everybody. Now, the key here is one, to realize all of us as leaders, if we step into our leadership, we are going to go through this. As leaders, we serve others. As the number of people that we serve go up, our problems and our tendency to question ourselves increases because our lives get more complicated by the more number of people that we serve. So the insight I had was, of course, I didn't feel this way before, like last year, this time. Last year around this time, these type of conversations, I was having them with just my clients. That's it. I wasn't doing these videos. I wasn't expecting and hoping and intentionally creating the impact that I want to have on anybody who's listening to these, right? But as my viewership has gone up and as I've moved into the podcast world and the TV show hosting world, and as I'm starting to realize that there's more eyes on me and more ears on the words that I'm speaking, that puts added pressure. That pressure then is what creates that doubt of, what is the purpose of this? Am I making the impact that I want to have? Here's the trick with that. The second you realize that's where the pressure is coming from, you actually snap yourself out of your fixed mindset back into the growth mindset, because for you to experience this kind of a mindset problem as you grow, it means you're growing. Like, that evidence is a part of that mindset block. So that's the second you realize that, the second you acknowledge that to yourself of, I didn't have this problem before because life was simpler. Now life is a little bit more complicated. That automatically indicates growth. That, boom, snaps you out of that fixed mindset. Now, in my case, this realization happened over a 12-hour period, because this was the end of the night on Friday night when I had these mindset blocks. So by the time I even understood what was happening and why my energy was tanking, I was so tired that I went to bed. But before I went to bed, I made a mistake. I made the mistake of low-key venting on social media about how I'm not going to do any more of these videos. I'm not going to do any more of these webinars because everybody's inundated with them. And I just don't even see if I'm adding any value. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That was a moment of frustration. And I put this post out there and then I went to bed. And especially when you're experiencing challenges like this, sleep is so helpful because it resets your mind. Which is why if my clients are having really bad mindset blocks, I actually tell them to take a nap, sleep on it, and see if this is how you feel the next day. I woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning and I was like, crud, what did I do? Because I know the value of my programs. I know the value I serve with every single day. And I know that my service is coming from my heart, coming from a place of pure compassion and wanting to help. So why would oh my gosh, I can't believe that. That's when I had that realization of I came across this problem because my world had gotten bigger. And of course, in a bigger world, you're probably going to have bigger problems. Once I realized that, here is where my true growth mindset started kicking in, to where I'm able to have this live here tonight to tell you the things that I'm talking about. What I realized is that as I've grown, my problems have grown, but when I do have the mindset blocks, they're doozies. Because the intensity, when you spend so much time in your growth mindset and you don't expect to experience this self-doubt or this any sort of like a challenge to yourself, when you do experience that fixed mindset, it's a doozy. It hits you like you're just got sucker punched. But every single time that I do have these mindset blocks of my impact, my intentionality, and all of these, getting out of them gets easier and easier and easier because of practice, but also because as you practice true sustainable growth mindset in your life and focus on the learning and development and on your accomplishments and how you can keep learning from it, you are going to find that no matter what the situation is, you will find something to learn from it. You will find a way in which it is going to serve your growth quicker and quicker and quicker because you're training your mind to think that way. So this is not about the entire trick about mindsets is not about, it's not a parlor trick. It's not. Mindset work is literally used for you to, what I use it to with my clients is to literally help them reprogram their minds. Because in our school systems, as we grow up, in all of our situations in life, we are expected to be passive receivers of messages. Over time, that makes us forget exactly how much control we do have on our actions in reality. But the more and more that you practice a true sustainable growth mindset, you are literally training yourself how to think critically again, how to think effectively. Because then you can apply that towards whatever topic you want to, right? So what mindset work does is it doesn't tell you how to think about any particular thing. Mindset work teaches you how to think, period. So that you can go into any situation, even if it is a topic or situation or context that is completely new to you, and know you are going to learn what you need to learn out of it and know that you are going to grow and develop from it because you can think critically. That is the beauty of mindset work, right? And that is also the mind-boggling part about a mindset work is that no matter how much of a mindset expert you are, realizing that you are still human, this is going to happen to you, and you are going to work through it. And when you do work through it, you can help others with it, which is exactly why I wanted to make this video. Thank you so much, Shay. I'm glad this is resonating with you. That's all I wanted to tell you guys today is how I, worked myself out of a mindset block to get back to my usual bubbly, chipper, cheery self, and all the insights I learned from it in terms of, I don't often think to talk about these specific insights because I think they're so obvious to me. But again, I don't realize that they may not be obvious to you or to anybody else. So that was the learning point I learned there is if I'm going through this and it took me this time to figure it out, if people don't do as much mindset work as I do, I wonder what they end up thinking about all of this. Why don't I make a video to say, hey, here is what is going on when this happens to you? It may be common sense to you, but maybe these realizations and insights I had can help you with your own aha moments to help you realize how much control you have over your conscious actions on a daily basis and how much control you can exert with intentionality and focus and by training your mind how to think about anything. So I hope this was helpful to you. If you are joining in on social media, this is being live streamed on Facebook, on my Facebook personal page, on my Facebook public page, on my Facebook group, and on LinkedIn. Please go subscribe to those. And I have a ton of exciting stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks and also over the next month. So I'm excited to roll those out as they come out. But that's it for tonight's video, y'all. I hope this was helpful. I'll stick around for questions for a few minutes if anybody has any specific questions. But also, if you don't want to ask questions here, please don't hesitate to just contact me. If you go to my website, www.ajrao.com, that's www.ajrao.com. Right on that first block, you'll see a button that says schedule your free clarity call. Please feel free to reach out to me. It takes you directly to my calendar and we can have a talk about this and I can help you answer any questions you have about mindset work and how it's going to benefit you. Don't hesitate. This is why I do what I do. I love what I do because if that helps you grow, that fills my cup. So it's a win-win for me. All right. Bye.